All right, this video is going to walk you through the technical drawing drill block assignment. So there are two parts to this. This is going to be the instructions for the CAD assignment. So there's the CAD assignment where we have to do the actual drill block model with the sectional view and the multi-view drawing. And then there is the tool practice where you're actually going to cut this out with some wood and get to use all the tools. So because we only have so many tools, part of you will be doing the actual build with a wood, and the others that we're waiting for tool use can work on the actual. So this video walkthrough is going to go over the CAD assignment, so getting you walk through all this. So first thing we need to do is we're going to create a new document, and this is going to be your first and last name, advanced CAD. Now we're going to actually put all of our CAD assignments for the next couple weeks in this document, so that way you won't have to share it. I know in the you had a bunch of different documents and they were all kind of different places, but for this unit we're going to put everything all in the same document. So this will be the only one that you create. So we'll go and create it, and there we go. So I would highly recommend for this that you have the actual dimensions up. So on the assignment itself is the part with all the dimensions. This is actually what we're going to create, this multi-view drawing and everything, but this is also good to have up so we can actually see what we're doing. So we're going to model this, and then we're going to create the multi-view drawing. So now, because on multi-views, we want to start with the front face in the bottom left, the view that we choose is actually going to affect it. So we're going to start with this kind of big flat face being our front view. So when we sketch, we're going to want to put our sketch on the front. Sketch front plane, so make sure you click on the front plane. If you don't, go back. I won't. Okay, because it is going to change the final orientation. So click on front. So now we're all lined up with the front. Now, if we look at our part, the size of this is 5 inches long, and it is 1.5 inches tall. So we'll come back here, grab our center point rectangle, and I'm going to start with the origin, and we'll make it 5 by 1.5, and we're good there. Okay, so if we come back here, we can see that the thickness is 0.75 and that there are fillets of 0.1 inch. Now we can see that there are no fillets on these edges, it's only the lengthwise edges. So let's go ahead and do those real quick. So we're going to extrude this, and what I'm going to do, just to make it easy so that plane bisects this, is I'm going to make this a symmetric, and I want it to be 0.75 inches. And what that symmetric did is it kind of keeps our origin right there in the middle. That makes it just easier because that's halfway through. So that'll make it easier for a couple things that we're going to do in the future. So we'll go ahead and check, accept that. So we have just our little block right here. And we're going to put some fillets on it. Now, I don't want to click on the faces because I don't want to put fillets on these edges, because when we actually cut this, we're going to cut it straight and it's not going to have fillets. But the boards themselves have fillets on these outside edges. So I'm just going to put fillets on these 4 outside edges. We're going to make them 0.1 inches. And so there we go right there. So we got some wood. Now this doesn't really look like wood. So I'm going to go ahead and edit appearance. And I'm just going to give it a nice kind of light woody color right there, kind of an orange. Yeah, now it looks a little bit more like a piece of wood right there. So we have the wood model. What we need to do now is put in the holes. So if we look at the assignment here, there are actually 4 holes that we're going to drill. The first one's just going to be a 1/4 inch bit straight all the way through. Then we have a counter bore on the second one, which is it's a 1/4 inch drill bit, but then a 0.5 inch counter bore. And the counter bore only goes down 0.25 inches. So that counter bore is that larger spot. Third one is a countersink. That's why it's angled. So it's a 0.25 inch drill bit down 1 inch. And then we have that 1/2 inch countersink. And then we have a tapped hole, and we'll kind of do these one at a time. All right, so we come back here. Here's the hole command, and the way hole works is you have to have a point. Okay, so you have a point on there, and then you can put a hole in there. So what we need is to go and create sketch and put points in there. So we'll sketch, and we're going to sketch on the top of the actual model, not on the top plane, but we're going to sketch on the top of the part right here. So we'll hit sketch, grab my line tool. I'm going to snap over here. It's on this left edge. We'll snap to the center. Come over 1 inch. And we'll have another one 1 inch. Another one 1 inch. And then one final line 1 inch. So the reason that we drew these is because we just need these points. So I'll hit escape. Now, we have these little dots here, but that won't work. That's just the endpoint of the line. What I need to do is get the actual point tool up here, and we're just going to click on each of these spots. And then we should have points. And if we zoom in, we can kind of see them. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and just delete my lines. If you did it right, what you should have is your 4 points right there. So these points are what are going to be used for holes. So the only reason we drew those lines was to get these center points that are offset by 1 inch. So we'll go ahead and finish that sketch, and we're ready to proceed. So let's look at our first hole again. So the first one is just a 1/4 inch drill all the way through. So let's go back, click on hole, and we're going to click on that first point. And what we need to do is make sure this is a simple hole and that it is through. Okay, so that's really the only two things we need. Simple, through, and then we're going to make our diameter 0.25 inches, and that's all on there. So we'll go ahead and green check, and there's our 1/4 inch hole through our board. Now we're ready to do the next one, but we saw that unfortunately all of our other points just disappeared. Well, in OnShape, once you do something with a sketch, it hides it. So like once we extruded, right, that sketch that we originally had was just hidden. It hides it because it figures you won't need it anymore. I can always show it. There's that original sketch. So what we need to do is go ahead and show that sketch 2 that has our points on them. So now we have our points, so we can use them. So let's go ahead and get our second. Click on here. Okay, and let's look at this one. This is a counter bore hole that goes down 1 inch, and the counter bore goes down 0.25 inches, and it is a 0.5 inch counter bore. So we'll make this counter bore. The width of my hole is 0.25 inches. The counter bore is 0.5 inches, and the counter bore goes down 0.25 inches. So we'll go ahead and green check, and there's my counter bore. We can see that there's the larger counter bore and the smaller 1/4 inch hole. So it didn't hide the sketch because it figured that I probably needed it again. So we'll go ahead and do our next hole. And if we look back here, this is a countersink hole, or countersunk. Okay, it's a 1/4 inch drill bit that goes down 1 inch. Okay, it's a 0.5 inch countersink at 82 degrees. So, oops, I think I actually went through on that. We'll fix that in a second. All right, so this next one is going to be a countersink. Okay, it is a 0.25 inch hole, a 0.5 inch countersink at 82 degrees, and I messed up. So this is not actually all the way through. It only goes down 1 inch. So instead of through, we're going to make this blind, and it's going to be 1 inch deep. So green check, and we can see there it stops. So I need to fix hole number 2 because I made a mistake there. So we'll come back, and instead of through, we'll change this to blind, and that's only going to come down 1 inch. So that's one of the nice things about CAD. With CAD, nothing you ever do is permanent. You can always go back and fix stuff. All right, so our last hole, go ahead and click on it, and we see this is our more complex one. So this is a tapped hole that goes, see, it's a 0.201 hole, 0.75, it's 1/4 inch at 20 threads per inch, down 0.5 inches. So a whole bunch of stuff there. So what we're going to do is, this is going to be simple. It's not a counterbore or countersink. It is blind. It's going to go down 1 inch. And what we're going to do is, instead of custom, we're going to choose our ANSI. So this is a tapped hole, 1/4 inch, 20 TPI, and this actually gives you the width of the initial hole that would be drilled for a 1/4 inch tap. All right, so we see that we're at 0.201. Good, good, good. Goes down, so really not much else to check. Just make sure your numbers are all the same. We'll hit green check mark. And now it doesn't actually show you them in here, but it will show them on our final sheet. So it doesn't actually model them in CAD. And that's because if you actually put this into a machine, you would have to do it, and then machinists would later come in and tap it. All right, so the last thing we're going to do in this is our sectional view. So we have, we can't really see them all that well. So what we're going to do is what's called a sectional view. So we're going to right click on just this side, do section view, and if we just click and drag this arrow, we can see that we can kind of drag it back. Now I know that this is a let's see, a 0.75 inch hole, so halfway is going to be right about there, negative 0.35. And now we can actually see kind of halfway through. So leave your drawing at this sectional view. That way I can see that all the holes are done correctly. So that's the first part of this, right? We have our CAD model. Now it's time to do the drawing. So I'm going to come down here, actually get rid of this assembly. We don't need that. And Part Studio 1 is a horrible name, so let's call this drill block. Should have done that at the beginning, but it's all good. And next thing we're going to do is make our technical drawing sheet. So the drawing sheet, if you remember, when we talked about drawing sheets, this is what a machinist would actually use to create the part, right? So a drawing sheet has all kinds of information. It has the different views, has dimensions, it has shaded isometrics. Okay, it just gives the user an idea of what this part is going to look like. And ours, when we're done, will actually look just like the instructions. So make yours look just like the instructions. So here's